Putter and Tabby Walk the Dog. Now, I did buy this book off on Amazon, so here is the doggy that needs to be walked. Yeah, I should, but I thought they might have been out, but maybe they're not. But yeah, there's a lot of kitties out today. All right, Chapter 1, The Lollipop. Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby live next door to Mrs. Teaberry and her small dog Zeke. Mrs. Teaberry sometimes gave Mr. Putter eggplant for his supper, and Mr. Putter sometimes gave Mrs. Teaberry kiwis for her lunch. They were very happy living side by side. One day, Mrs. Teaberry slipped on a kiwi and hurt her foot. Mr. Putter and Tabby took her to the doctor. The doctor said, "This foot needs a rest. No walking Zeke for a week." "No walking Zeke for a week!" cried Mrs. Teaberry. "But who will walk my little lollipop?" She always called Zeke her little lollipop. Then Mr. Putter, who had a very soft heart, said, "I will walk your little lollipop." Mrs. Teaberry was happy, but she was a little worried. "I hope he doesn't tug," she said. "Oh no," said Mr. Putter, "Zeke won't tug." "I hope he doesn't wrap around trees," she said. "Oh no," said Mr. Putter again, "Zeke won't wrap." "And I hope he doesn't chase other dogs," she said finally, "especially the big ones." "Oh no," said Mr. Putter for the last time, "Zeke is a good dog. Zeke is a fine dog." Mr. Putter looked at the little lollipop. "Zeke is a dream dog," Mr. Putter said with a smile. Chapter 2, The Nightmare. Zeke was a nightmare. The first day, Mr. Putter and Tabby took him for a walk. He tugged, and tugged, and tugged. "Hello, Bonnie Davies." He tugged Mr. Putter and Tabby through yards and creeks and houses they had never been through before. When Mr. Putter and Tabby got home, they had to have some warm milk and pudding and a nap. "Zeke is not a dream dog," Mr. Putter said to Tabby. When they woke up, Zeke is a nightmare. The second day they took him for a walk. Zeke wrapped around trees. He wrapped around an elm tree. He wrapped around a pine tree. He wrapped around a pear tree. He always wrapped Mr. Putter and Tabby with him. Look at that picture of Mr. Putter and Tabby wrapped around a tree. When Mr. Putter and Tabby got home, they had to have some warm milk and popovers and a nap. "Oh, Bonnie Davies, you haven't made popovers in a long time. I'm expecting those, just to let you know." "Zeke is not a dream dog," Mr. Putter said to Tabby when they woke up. "Zeke is a nightmare." The third day, Zeke chased dogs, and he didn't chase little ones. He chased big ones. He chased a Russian wolfhound. He chased a Great Dane. He chased a Saint Bernard. He chased them until they got bored with being chased. And they turned around and chased Zeke and Mr. Putter and Tabby. The big dogs chased them through yards and creeks and houses they had never been through before. When Mr. Putter and Tabby got home, they had to have some warm milk and shortbread and a nap. Zeke is not a trained dog, Mr. Putter said to Tabby when they woke up. Zeke is a nightmare. And the two of them sat a long time, wondering what to do. They weren't sure they could live through 4 more days with the lollipop. Chapter 3, The Dream Dog. Here's the deal, Zeke, Mr. Putter said on the 4th day. You be a good dog, and every day after our walk, you'll get a nice surprise.
Mama.
Uh-oh. Zeke was a smart dog. He knew what a deal was. The 4th day, he didn't tug, he didn't rap, and he didn't chase. He was a dream dog. This is a cute book. This is a very cute little book. So Mr. Putter and Tabby took him to the Frosty Freeze. Zeke had a hot fudge sundae with extra cherries. The 5th day, Zeke didn't tug, and he didn't rap, and he didn't chase. He was a dream dog again. So Mr. Putter and Tabby took him to the swimming pool. He jumped off the diving board 15 times. On the 6th day, Zeke was a dream dog, and he went to the carnival. On the 7th day, Zeke was a dream dog, and he went to the zoo. When Mr. Putter and Tabby took Zeke home for the last time, Mrs. T-Berry asked, was Zeke a good lollipop? And Mr. Putter, who had bought her pecans instead of kiwis, smiled the biggest smile. He said, Zeke was a dream lollipop. Then he and Tabby said goodbye and went home and had a party. And that's it. And I don't know if you can see this, but there are like 12 Mr. Putter and Tabby books. So, a cute little book. So that is Mr. Putter and Tabby Walk the Dog in memory of Sheriff Putter. Next book is a sequel to Harry the Dirty Dog that I read last week. This is called Harry by the Sea. And there's a picture of Harry on the beach with the sun shining out. Here's another picture of Harry at the beach. Notice that they're trying to social distance. They're trying to be 6 feet apart. Harry was a white dog with black spots who liked everything about the seashore, except, you know what? I don't know if they're from England. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. Possible from the author of the Henry and Mudge books. So, all right. So Harry was a white dog with black spots who liked everything about the seashore except the hot sun. One day when the sun was hotter than ever, Harry looked for a shady place to sit. But when he tried to get under the family's beach umbrella, it was too crowded and the family made him leave. When he crawled into the children's sand castle. Hi, Barbara. The walls fell in and the children chased him away. When he walked in the shade that a fat lady made, that's not nice, a fat lady made. She became angry and made him stop following her. Get lost, she said. She was very annoyed. So let me check the... Printed in China. Text copyright. I don't know. It looks like it might be in America. I don't know. Okay. Well, anyway. So the big lady said, get lost. She was very annoyed. The sun was very hot, and Harry had walked a long way from the main beach. He was tired, and he sat down at the water's edge. And all of a sudden, a big wave came in from behind and crashed right on top of him. And look, sanderlings. When the wave rolled back, Harry was left floating in the water. He was completely covered with seaweed. He didn't look like a dog anymore. He looked like something from the bottom of the sea. Maybe Sigmund and the Sea Monsters? Suddenly, a lady saw him floating toward her. Help! Help! She shrieked. It's a sea monster! The lifeguard heard her and blew his whistle. Everybody out! He shouted. Everybody out! You can, Caden. I think she might really have them on pet finders, but if you go to FFRC.org, there's a link to Pet Finder. So you can definitely see the cats on Pet Finder there. All right. Everyone ran out of the water, and so did Harry. He was still covered with cold, wet seaweed. It made him feel cool and comfortable, and now he didn't mind the sun at all. He felt so good, he started running back to his family. On his way, some people saw him. It's a sea serpent, one of them screamed. It's a giant sandworm, shrieked another. Harry had water in his ears and could hardly hear him. He kept on running toward the main beach. When he got there, Harry stopped and stared. Instead of just his family's umbrella, now there were hundreds of them. They were all striped, just like his family's. Harry couldn't tell one umbrella from another. Suddenly, two beach attendants saw him. Holy smoke, one of them gasped. What's that? It's a bushy-backed sea slug, exclaimed the other. They whispered for a moment, and then they ran. Harry went from umbrella to umbrella, but he couldn't find his family. Everyone wore sun hats and sunglasses, and everyone used suntan oil, just like his family. Harry looked and sniffed very hard, but it was no use. He couldn't tell one family from another. Suddenly, the two beach attendants come running back carrying a big trash basket. They ran toward Harry. "Stand back," one of them said to the crowd. "We're going to catch it and take it to the aquarium," said the other. Azriel. Hi, Azriel. Then they tiptoed right behind Harry and raised the trash basket over his head. Harry didn't know the beach attendants were behind him. He was listening to something. He thought he heard someone calling his name. There it was again. "Harry! Harry! Harry!" Now Harry was sure. He didn't wait another second. Just as the basket came down. He ran. He ran right out from under the basket. It happened so fast, beach attendants just stood there with their mouths open. As he raced through the crowd, some people screamed, some people ran, and some people did both. But Harry paid no attention. He kept on running across the beach. When he got to the hot dog stand, he stopped and barked happily. Behind the counter, the hot dog man was shouting. It was his voice that Harry had heard. But Harry had water in his ears, and he couldn't hear very well. The man was shouting, "Harry! Harry! Harry!" The man wasn't shouting that. He was shouting, "Hurry! Hurry! Hurry! Get them while they're hot!" Harry still thought the man was calling his name. He barked and jumped with joy. He jumped so much that suddenly the seaweed all fell off. When the crowd saw that Harry was a dog, they gasped. They could hardly believe their eyes. All at once, Harry began to jump higher than ever. He saw the children. They were running behind him. "Oh, Harry," they cried, "we heard you bark. We've been looking all over for you." Harry was so happy, he did a little dance. The hot dog man was very grateful to Harry for bringing the crowd to his stand. He sold all the hot dogs he had. He gave Harry a free hamburger. The lady who had told Harry to get lost came along and bought him a cold drink. "You're no sea monster," she said. "You're just a lost hot dog." Everyone laughed except the two children. "He's not lost," one of them said. "He's Harry, and he's ours." Then they hurried off to join the rest of the family. The next time Harry's family went to the beach, they bought a new umbrella. Harry liked this one very much. It was white with black spots. No matter how crowded the beach became, it was easy to find. But best of all, it was big. And when the sun got very hot, there was room underneath for them all. And that is Harry by the Sea. So Those of you who enjoyed Harry the Dirty Dog, a little sequel. So, all right, I got one more book to read, but I'm going to wait like 5 minutes. So I don't think this book is probably the longest out of the rest of them, but it won't take too long. It's called O is for Oyster Catcher. All right. So I've been trying to read a shore book, a cat book, and something else. And then I'm going to show you a few postcards from here, the shorebird books, because we were talking about shorebirds last week. So just give me a couple minutes so I can stretch my legs, and then we will go to O is for Oyster Catcher. Hi, Jessie. Hi, Magic. Margaret. Hi, Magic. Oh, she. Aha. Okay. I just wanted to stretch my legs because sometimes Gene Zion was the author, and he was American. Are you talking about Mr. Putter and Gene Zion is definitely the author of Harry by the Sea. But I think the question was about Mr. Putter and Tabby. Alright. The next book is O is for Oyster Catcher. This is basically Seaside ABCs. So I'll read you the preface here. For most of us, thoughts of the shore include images of lounging on the crowded beach or strolling on a bustling boardwalk. However, so much more awaits the curious explorer for our coastal regions. In a single day, one can visit vast areas of marsh and meadow, bay and bog, river and shoreline. Amidst the advance and retreat of the tides live an astounding variety of plant and animal life uniquely adapted to the wetlands, the ever-changing world between land and sea. In our coastal waters, even more life forms abound. We depend on coastal ecosystems for food, resources, protection from flooding and storms, and help with the purification of our water supply. The coast needs our help too. More than half of the wetlands in the U.S. have already been destroyed, and our oceans are threatened by contamination. Only when we truly come to know and appreciate our coast and the creatures and plants living there will we garner the resources and the will to adequately restore and protect this vital part of our world. We are never too young or too old to immerse ourselves in the natural world. This book can help on many levels to introduce children and adults alike to some of the fascinating species that inhabit the coast. Hopefully, readers will be inspired to get out and get their feet wet, explore the rich and varied wildlife of our coastal regions, and try to make a difference. All right, so basically, this is the ABCs. All right. Thank you. So A is for albacore, speedy swimmer of the deep sea. This small species of tuna is a champion swimmer, extremely agile and able to cover long distances very quickly Albacore can travel at speeds of over 50 miles per hour. Although these fish inhabit the ocean sea, albacore are also found inshore around reefs and wrecks where they feed on smaller fish. This tuna is popular as a sport fish because of its tremendous power and also for its delicious flavor. Albacore is most commonly sold in cans but can be found at fresh fish markets. So A is for albacore. Oh, is he really? Hopewell, Virginia. Okay. And we just moved from Virginia. B is for blue crab. Feisty underwater pirates that pinch, with eyes that extend out from their body on a stalk. Blue crabs have nearly 360-degree vision and virtually no blind spot. Add fearless tenacity and startling speed to the mix, and you have a very successful bottom-dwelling predator. However, these scrappy creatures are just as likely to resort to scavenging and thievery to get a good meal. The blue crab is a real survivor with an appetite for a wide variety of food, including vegetation, fish, snails, clams, and even other crabs. The blue crab is a valuable food source for humans. There are ongoing efforts to manage, conserve, and protect the crab population. So B is for blue crab. C is for cattails. Plants that are also known as punks. These marsh plants provide protection and food to many marsh inhabitants. Birds perch in the long blade-like leaves and also use them for nesting material. Muskrats gather the leaves for building their lodges. Fish seek protection around the underwater base of the cattails, while turtles eat the seeds and stems of the plants. Surprisingly, we humans also have many uses for cattails. In the manufacture of cornstarch, ethyl alcohol, burlap, and rayon. Native Americans also had a variety of uses for this interesting plant, including weaving baskets and mats out of the leaves, eating the starchy roots, and soaking the brown flower stalk in fat and using it as a torch. I don't know if you guys remember, but I made a joke on my Facebook page. I had a picture of one of these cattails with mustard, and it said, "These organic hot dogs are terrible, taste terrible." Anyway, D is for dolphin, the friendly mammal that loves to make waves. Dolphins are curious, highly intelligent, and friendly mammals that can be found in every one of the Earth's oceans. Of the more than 30 species of dolphins, the bottlenose dolphin is the most familiar. Ocean aquariums keep bottlenose dolphins because of their adaptable and cooperative nature, but you can see them in the wild as well. These dolphins are very comfortable in shallow water and can often be seen swimming in small pods along the coast. I don't know, Lost Girl, if you know, there's the Marine Mammal Stranding Center, which is in Brigantine, which is right outside of Atlantic City. I used to do volunteer work there, and most of the time, I just help out in there, be a tour guide and give them those tours. But one time I got a chance to go into the water with a dolphin, and I'm trying to think of what kind of dolphin it was. I don't remember. And it's going to come to me. A striped dolphin. Striped dolphin. It was called a striped dolphin. Striped dolphins are natives of very deep water. You don't see striped dolphins too often. But basically the striped dolphin stranded, and they needed somebody in the water to walk this dolphin around the pool because he couldn't really do it himself. And he did really well for a time, but he eventually did pass away, which was a shame. But I just wanted to tell you about that. Marine Mammals Training Center is a very cool place. Brigantine, New Jersey. All right, we're up to E for egrets. I had a few. Silent stalker of the marsh. In the summer, egrets dot the green marsh like so many tall white statues. Whether standing still or, in the case of the snowy egret, shuffling their big yellow feet to stir up prey, the graceful egret has perfect aim when spearing fish in shallow water. During breeding season, egrets are adorned with long white plumes, which were prized in the early 1900s for decorating hats and clothing. These ornamental feathers were in such high demand that excessive hunting brought the egret's population to the brink of extinction. Through efforts by conservationists have greatly helped to increase their numbers. Wetland habitat destruction and coastal development have presented a complete recovery. So, there's a picture of the snowy egret. All right, we're up to H. No, not H. We're up to F. F for fluke. Master of disguise plus 2 funny eyes. Fluke, or summer flounder, are flat fish with both eyes on the top side of their bodies. Because of their unique shape, these fish look like magic carpets when they swim. However, fluke prefer to lie still on the ocean floor or at the bottom of the bay, waiting for a meal to swim by. Fluke have a speckled and spotted appearance, which blends very well with the sandy bottom. This disguise makes it easy for the fish to ambush their prey. Fluke begin their lives looking like other fish, with their eyes on either side of their heads. As they mature, their bodies flatten, and one eye migrates to join the other. So there is your fluke. G is the next one.
Come on, baby.
G is for green turtle, and not the green turtle restaurants that dot Maryland. A gentle green giant and long-distance swimmer. Largest of all hard-shelled sea turtles, adults commonly weigh over 300 pounds. When it's time to lay their eggs, the turtles swim as far as 600 miles from their foraging grounds and return to the same beaches where they were born. Nesting time is the only time the green turtles will come on land, and both adult and young are equally vulnerable to hunters and a variety of other predators. Hunted for its skin, meat, and shell, this beautiful and once common species is on the brink of extinction. Today, the green turtle is listed as threatened or endangered throughout its habitat. All sea turtles are protected today. And again, I have seen quite a few green turtles when I was at the working at the Marine Mammals Training Center. I know, unfortunately, by the time a turtle strands, they're already circling the drain. So it's really hard to save them once they are stranded. The cool thing, the one time, is they had a turtle, and I don't know the exact. I don't know if it was a leatherback, but the turtle had a little collision with a propeller, and basically cracked the shell all up. And they actually had an orthopedic doctor come in, and they actually put these little sutures on its shell, and also to facilitate the healing of the fractured, they actually put pins in its shell. It was really cool, and that I'm pretty sure that turtle was saved. I don't know if they could release him back into the water, but he was definitely saved. And like I said, that Marine Mammals Training Center is just an absolutely amazing place. So sometimes these little stories remind me of my years there doing volunteer work for there. So, all right, H is for horseshoe crab. Is it a horseshoe? Is it a crab? Guess again. Horseshoe crabs have been around for a very long time and haven't changed much in the last 360 million years. They're actually related to spiders and scorpions. Each spring, masses of horseshoe crabs emerge from the bay to spawn on bay beaches, where their eggs provide a crucial source of food for hungry migrating shorebirds. This perfectly timed meal makes a big difference in the survival of many bird species. Horseshoe crabs also play an important role in human medical testing. Their blood has unique properties which help detect drug impurities. The horseshoe crabs donate blood and are then returned to the sea. Because its numbers are in decline due to habitat loss and overharvesting, efforts are underway to protect this valuable species. Their largest nesting area is the Delaware Bay. Now, how cool is that? How did I end up volunteering in Brigantine? A bunch of my friends had a house for the summer in Margate, and I would go down there on weekends. And I heard about the Marine Mammals Training Center, and I decided to check them out the one day. And boy, that was a drive at that time. I guess I expected it was just around the corner. Yeah, it was like 40 minutes away. I had to go all through Atlantic City and then all through the casinos district, out and But anyway, when I got there, I just thought it was a cool place, and I decided I was going to do some volunteering there. And I did it for a couple years. I actually was also, I dressed up as their mascot, and I would go to parades as their official mascot. A lot of functions. They actually had a function where there were quite a few famous people there, and it was actually funny because I could actually go there and act ridiculous because I was in a mascot costume. So, though I did ask the one person just to pretend like you're mad at me and smack me because I wanted to do a little show so that the kids would laugh. But anyway, I is for Irish moss. Pretty and useful and seemingly everywhere. The branching layers of this seaweed provide protection and nutrition for all sorts of marine life. Starfish, urchins, periwinkles, seahorses, and microscopic organisms are just some of the life forms found in and around clumps of Irish moss. Interestingly, this common saltwater plant has many uses on land as well. Also known as carrageen, Irish moss serves as a thickening agent in ice cream, toothpaste, and cheese, and is used in the manufacture of fertilizer and industrial chemicals. So that is Irish moss. Is there photos? I know I have a couple pictures somewhere. I know I scanned pictures and I put them on Facebook, and actually I put them on the Marine Mammals Training Center's Facebook page. But the mascot that I was, they kind of retired, and they have a new mascot, which is good because they have a seal in their logo, and the seal is actually named after one of their very early rescues named Lucille. Get it, Lucille, who was blind, and when they rescued and they rehabilitated, I believe Lucille went up to an aquarium up in New York. So the mascot that I was a dolphin named Sea Scout. So now they have their new dolphin, their new logo is Lucille. They have a seal costume, but I was, I believe, a dolphin. So, all right. J is for jellyfish. Graceful and ghostly water dancers. Jellyfish are primitive organisms with no brain, heart, bones, or eyes. They have existed for over 650 million years. There are over 200 species found throughout the world. They gently pulse their way through the water or are carried by wind, waves, and currents. People try to avoid them because of their ability to sting. When the jellyfish senses nearby movement, it fires off a stinging cell called a nematocyst. This protects the jellyfish and helps it capture and subdue its prey. Oh, that must be mommy calling her babies. So most jellyfish are harmless to humans and are helpful in keeping ecosystems in balance. People benefit directly from jellyfish because of their use in the treatment of heart disease and certain types of cancer. So we got J for jellyfish. Next one is going to be K. K for kingfisher. The little big bird that hovers and dives. Easily identifiable by its large head and beak, small body, and harsh rattling cry, the belted kingfisher is often found patiently sitting on a favorite branch or piling, overlooking the water. From this perch, he watches for small fish, crabs, and other prey. When movement is spotted, the kingfisher will take wing, hover briefly over the intended target, and then quickly plunge headfirst in the water to catch its prey. Found throughout North America, these solitary birds are very territorial about their hunting grounds and have specially adapted eyes for underwater vision. I'm going to look to see if I could find the picture of me with Sea Scout, because I know I scanned the picture. It was probably 2 computers ago, so I almost certainly don't have a copy on my computer, but I'm pretty sure I scanned it and I sent it to the Marine Mammals Training Center's Facebook page. I'll put my feet up because I need to adjust my sitting here, because the problem with stools is that they're not real comfortable. All right, I think it's Magenta's Revenge, because I haven't read a book or anything that's in memory of Magenta, so I'm going to have to take care of that. So, because this stool is named after Magenta. All right, L is for limpet, a tiny jewel that sticks close to home. Many different limpet species are found in the tidal zones of oceans all over the world. These tiny mollusks, I can't say it right, live in flattened conical shells. They attach themselves to rocks with their muscular foot. During the night, limpets travel several yards away from their home in search of algae to feed on, using a raspy tongue-like organ called a radula, R-A-D-U-L-A. But they will then return to the same spot each day to rest. Limpets live in the exact same place for their entire life. The outer surface of the shell is rough, while the inner surface is smooth, shiny, and sometimes brightly colored. M is for monarch, king of the insect airways. Unlike other butterfly species, monarchs cannot survive long, cold winters. So, guided by the length of the day and the temperature, North American monarchs can travel up to 3,000 miles on an incredible migratory journey to Mexico. Each individual monarch will make the trip only once during its lifetime. The migratory paths are the same each year, and 2 major paths run along our eastern and western coastlines. During the course of their journey, they always roost communally and fly in masses. Monarchs choose traditional resting spots along the way, where they will roost and feed on the nectar of flowering seasonal plants, such as seaside goldenrod, Human admirers, attracted by the quiet and colorful spectacle, stop to watch and photograph the long-distance flyers. Fall is the best time to observe this amazing undertaking. All right, O, no, N. We're up to N. N is for Northern Diamondback Terrapin, another turtle, a vulnerable diamond in the marsh. Of all the species of turtles in the world, only the Northern Diamondback Terrapin is exclusively adapted to the coastal salt marsh. The terrapin is an agile and alert swimmer and can live for 25 to 40 years, feeding on clams, snails, mussels, and fiddler crabs. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, terrapins were hunted nearly to extinction. This fact, along with the loss of wetland habitat, places the terrapin among the most threatened of all coastal animals. They also face a host of other dangers. Many are hit by cars on the way to find a sandy spot to lay their eggs, and thousands more drown in commercial crab pots. Conservationists are launching intensive and creative efforts to reverse the decline in terrapin populations, such as requiring turtle excluders on crab pots. However, more needs to be done to save this beautiful and vulnerable species. So, this is not the only turtles that are endangered. Just about all of the large turtle species are endangered. I don't think the Kemp's Ridley sea turtle is in here, but that is critically in danger. And the Kemp's Ridley sea turtles are really, if we don't do something, they're probably going to go extinct. So, all of those turtles. All right. So now we're up to O for Oyster Catcher, a boldly patterned shell seeker. The oyster catcher gets its name from its favorite food, the oyster. It also uses its large bill as a tool to pry open these and other bivalves. Oyster catcher chicks are able to see, walk, and feed themselves within hours of hatching from their eggs. This self-sufficiency is just one example of how resilient these maritime birds are. Unlike many coastal animals, the oyster catcher has been able to adapt and flourish in a wider and wider range. Once found only in isolated areas of the southern Atlantic coast, oyster catchers are now found as far north as Maine. This wading bird is easy to identify along the shoreline, jetties, and tidal mudflaps. Look for its long, bright orange bill and listen for the loud cleep, cleep of its piping call. So, oyster catcher. P, let me see, piranha? No, it's not going to be piranha. It's for pitch pine, scruffy survivor in a land of salt and sand. With its rough, scaly bark and scruffy crown of branches, the pitch pine is not the prettiest of trees. However, it is able to thrive along the coast where sandy soil, high winds, salt spray, and other environmental stress makes survival difficult for the most species of trees. The pitch pine has a refreshing scent due in part to a very high resin content. Colonialists use the resin to make tar and turpentine. In the winter months when all the other trees have lost their leaves, evergreens like the pitch pine provide birds and tree-dwelling mammals with much-needed protection from the season's harsh weather. Q. I wonder what Q would be. I don't know. Quahog. Quahog. A clam by any other name. Quahogs are large, hard-shelled clams. Native Americans carved and polished the white and purple shells to make a type of currency called a wampum. And the name quahog is derived from the Narragansett word pogahawk. God bless you. Quahogs are commercially harvested, either either raked or dredged. It looks like an N, not an R. And classified by size: seed, bean, button, little neck, top neck, cherrystone, and chowder. People eat clams in a variety of forms, including raw, cherrystones, or in chowder. All clams are bivalve mollusks, meaning that they are soft-bodied animals without a backbone that live within two symmetrical shells. Boy, they really tried hard. Let's not call it a clam, let's call it a quahog. I mean, you know. So next is R. R, oh yes, R is for raptor. Soaring, sharp-eyed birds of prey. With eyesight many times more powerful than the humans and a wide wingspan to hold them aloft on the wing, the northern harrier, marshhawk, osprey, and bald eagle are all highly effective coastal predators, known as raptors. Marshhawks prefer a diet of small rodents, but will eat whatever prey is easily acceptable, while osprey and bald eagles prefer fish. Gliding low over the salt marsh in search of meadow voles, the marsh hawk is one of the most commonly seen raptors. Bald eagles can be seen soaring high in slow, wide circles while they search for their prey, and the osprey's nest is usually the most obvious signs of their presence. These majestic birds were affected by the use of DDT, and many became endangered species. Thanks to intense conservation efforts, they may have made a remarkable recovery. So, one of the cool things around here in Defiance is that there are a lot of bald eagles. I've seen a couple in the distance, but one of these days I want to go to the Independence Park because I've heard that you see a lot of bald eagles at Independence Park. So, all right, we're up to S. S is for seahorse, the fish that eats like a horse. The seahorse is a fascinating animal with many unusual features. It has no stomach, digests its food inefficiently, and must therefore eat vast amounts of food, up to 250 small shrimp hourly. Although a seahorse is a fish, it is not protected by scales, but a series of jointed bony plates and rings. This fish swims in a unique upright position, and although this swimming style is slow, it is very well suited to a life spent slipping quietly through dense vegetation. The seahorse's prehensile tail is also of great use in a habitat of thick seagrasses. It can be used to hitch a ride on a floating leaf of seaweed or to hold onto rooted grasses and hide from predators. The male seahorses have brood pouches in which the female deposits eggs. The babies hatch and grow in the pouch until they are ready to be born and are expelled into the sea. So that's your seahorse. Give me 30 seconds because I'm getting a little hoarse. Not seahorse though. All right. We're off the T. Tautog. Tautog. Easy does it for this swimmer. The tautog, or blackfish, has a large compressed body made to move slowly and steadily around rock piles, wrecks, and reefs. Unlike fast swimmers such as the albacore, which moves quickly and constantly through the open water, the tautog is relatively inactive. It conserves energy for catching prey or eluding danger, with quick bursts of speed are most needed. With its conical teeth and large fleshy mouth, the tautog dines on small crustaceans. This popular sport fish can live for over 30 years and can reach 3 feet in length. Tautog. Am I getting a pony? Nope, I wish. U For a univalve, the shell is its castle on land and sea. Mollusks living in shells composed of one spiraling piece are called univalves. There are many types of univalves living on land, as well as in our seas and inland waters. The whelk is one of the largest univalves. In the summer, tiny whelks develop inside strings of white octagonal egg cases. Many whelks will emerge from each egg case in miniature fully formed shells. Univalves have calcium-rich blood, and as the tiny animals mature, some of the calcium separates from the body to form thin layers of the strong productive shell. Univalves are important food sources for animals and humans alike. And, here's basically your typical univalve. You put your ear up to the opening, you can hear the ocean. All right. This is a long book. V for Virginia opossum. This prowler keeps its babies in tow. There are many nocturnal mammals inhabiting the coast who are not easily observed during the day. One of these is the Virginia opossum, North America's only native marsupial. The female opossum has a pouch where newborn babies will develop and be nourished for about 2 months. Although the opossum is a primitive animal with a relatively small brain, its extreme adaptability compensates somewhat for its lack of intelligence. Able to live in many environments, the opossum will make its den into any sheltered area and will move frequently if necessary. It is a good climber and with dexterous paws and a prehensile tail. A wide variety of foods will satisfy this omnivore, from plants and worms to frogs and birds. The adaptable nature of the opossum makes it well suited for life along the coast. Hilo, oil sands girl. So the Virginia opossum. W is for white ibis. Birds of a feather that really flock together. These long-legged birds are commonly seen in large colonies and are found along the Gulf and southern Atlantic coast. White ibis nest in flocks, and are often seen roosting in masses on the limbs of closely grouped trees. Colonies of over 60,000 birds have been reported. Slowly wading in the shadows of estuaries, lagoons, and marshes, white ibis probe for fish, frogs, crustaceans, and insects with their long, curved bills. It is wonderful to see these birds in flight, flapping and gliding across the sky with their long necks outstretched. Another common member of the ibis family is the glossy ibis. It has similar habits, however, its purplish, glossy feathers appear black, and it ranges along the Atlantic coast as far north as Maine. So the white ibis. Wow, this book is taking me half an hour to read. There is no X and there is no, actually XYZ. The Zygoptera. So this is the last one. All right. Damsels and dragons that do more than fly. Commonly known as the damselfly, this insect begins life underwater, breathing through gills. As an adult, the damselfly takes wing. It has the ability to perform all sorts of aerial stunts, including rapid directional change, backwards and sideways flight, drops and dodges, quick stops, and more. This powerful and talented flyer can reach speeds of up to 30 miles an hour and possess excellent vision. Smaller flying insects have little chance to escape this agile predator, who uses bristled legs to scoop its prey out of midair. The dragonfly is a close relative of the damselfly, but they can be easily distinguished. The dragonfly holds its wings horizontally while at rest. The damselfly holds them vertically. Both types of insects have existed for at least 300 million years. What? Do you want to come over? Come on. There we go. This is what he needs. So that's the end of O is for Oyster Catcher. Um, so I'm going to save the pictures of the shorebirds for next time. I'm also going to... What's that?
Good night.
Oh, good night.
Do you know what light to turn on?
No,
Just the top one.
the top ones. All right. All right.
Yep.
So I will bring the shorebirds book back next week, the Mid-Atlantic Shorebirds, and I will bring that. It's kind of funny because I bought this fourth book because I thought there was going to be extra time, but there was not. So thank you always for Oyster Catcher. So I'm going to take a drink and I'm going to stretch my legs. I want to get up for a minute because thank you, Lost Girl. Next week, I have another putter book, and I think I am also going to bring a book about bats. So that'll be exciting, and I'm going to see if we have any other books on shorebirds, so that I can kind of go into this. So that's the plan. Let me get up and stretch my legs because Spiker, Spiker, hi Spiker. How's that, Spiker? Hi, Marilyn. All right, so it's probably that one. Spiker. Elma. Anybody want some treats? Did you hear that? Hey, Spiker. Marilyn, did you hear the treats hit the floor? Would you like some too? There you go. Anybody else? I don't know, Coralie. There's a lot of whippersnappers. Lots of whippersnappers. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Dutchie. All right, I am going to get going. Thank you, everybody. We will be doing this again next week. Like I said, I think I got a couple of the books already picked out for next week. And have a good night, everybody. You might even see me on the, on your side. So have a good night. Bye-bye.